Hello.
Hello.
Hi, no, wait. Hi, Selena. My name's Grace. How are you? Nope.
Right? So difficult.
Okay. Can you, no. Because would we walk in together?
No, I think you'd already be in your office and someone will walk in. Or you pretend to walk in.
I feel like I want to bring you in.
You do that?
Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to stand over here. And so I can tell you to have a seat.
Yeah. That sounds like a way better idea.
Okay. And you can have a seat right here. Make yourself comfortable. Thank you. I've got some water here for you if you need it, tissues, and then sometimes I find my clients like to keep their hands busy, so I've just brought in some fidget toys you can help yourself too. How was it finding the office today?
It was good. Pretty easy to find the location.
Good, awesome. Before we get started, I just wanted to bring to your attention, have you done counseling before?
I've looked into doing counseling. I haven't actually had any sessions.
Okay. So just before we start, I just wanted to go over our confidentiality form. I've highlighted a couple points of importance. So everything we say in the office is confidential, but on the case that you might pose a threat to you yourself or another person, that is when I will need to take the necessary actions to ensure your safety and the safety around you.
Of course.
And then also, if we are ever subpoenaed before a court or issued a police search warrant or for a coroner's inquiry. And then also, we are practicing for like clinical supervision and case consultants. So we might go over some of the films with our supervisors for clinical supervision purposes. And lastly, we do have your information in a database that is highly secured and is stored off-site. Non-identifying elements such as survey results may be used for agency reporting so that we can better our services to better support our clients. So if you are happy with that, I'll just ask you to sign it and date it there at the bottom.
Thank you. There you go.
Excellent. Do you have any questions?
I don't.
Awesome. And just because I am still getting into the swing of things, I'll be taking some notes if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Excellent. So I'll just kind of get started. What brings you in to seek counseling services today?
So basically I just feel like I'm starting to lose control a lot of like the organization of my life. It's becoming very disorganized and it's causing a lot of stress and anxiety. There's a lot of changes that are constantly happening kind of at the moment, so those have become really hard to deal with as well.
So you say you like are losing control in your life. What aspects or areas of your life are you specifically referring to in that?
I'd say probably more my work and academic life. In my personal life is like where the anxiety shows though, because I compartmentalize the rest, like all those feelings. And kind of just like keep it down while I'm working or doing school, but when I go home it's like paralyzing. You know, it kind of just like you sit there and you think about it and it all just comes like rushing over you. You're like, wow, I have no idea what to do.
So it sounds like when you kind of go through your day, you're able to do most of everything that is asked of you, but when you come home, like, you've kind of met your threshold for the day.
Yeah. It's like, if I'm not just keeping myself busy, then I'm like just worrying about stuff or having anxiety about stuff.
Is there anything that you do to support yourself in when you're feeling these ways?
Yeah, I would say that I self-medicate.
Okay. I just realized I didn't look through your forms at all. So I'm gonna take a second to do that now. I was like, why can I only think of what I wrote down in the forms? Did you put anywhere in here that you smoke weed?
No, I just only asked for alcohol.
Yeah, okay. These soap notes actually aren't helpful. I'm like, okay, so,
Right?
that doesn't make any sense.
To you it does.
No, it doesn't. I'm literally just writing keywords. I'm like, is this what listening is? I'm so distracted by my notes. Okay, what if I... What is your problem? Like, what is your key problem?
I am experiencing anxiety and stress.
Like, in your overall life?
Yeah.
Girl, it's so vague. I'm like, when is she gonna talk about grapes? Okay.
No, we have 45 minutes just you wait. We'll do a deep dive into it.
Okay.
Yes, you just go look at this part right here. There's like a list. Yes, a list of things. I would say you go off that. What issues are affecting you or your family?
Okay.
I noticed that these are some things.
Okay, so, self-medicate. What do you self-medicate with?
I smoke weed.
Okay, and how often?
Every day.
Okay. And do you find that interferes with any of your day-to-day activities?
It used to a while ago, but I feel like because I'm such a frequent smoker, my tolerance is so high now that it doesn't really affect anything other than the fact that, you know, I just get really lazy.
Okay. What does your home life look like? Do you live by yourself? Do you have a partner?
I do. I live by myself and I just have my dog with me, Stella.
Mm-hmm.
She is a Mastiff and she's about 120 pounds. So she's a big girl.
Wow, okay.
And I mean, for the most part at home I'm just doing homework or doing extra work at my place of employment because of my school practicum. So
you're also in school?
yes.
Okay. And you're doing a work-based practicum?
Yes.
So how did you find your work-life balance prior to your practicum? Do you find that it's really kicked up recently, or is this something that's kind of been building up over time?
Yeah. I think it's just because I'm mixing school and work at this point and maybe taking on a lot bigger project that I'm working on should be way more in depth than I can provide.
Mm.
So I'm struggling a lot with that.
And do you find that you have good support with your practicum at work?
It's so and so. I have an idea of what I'm supposed to be doing. However, the supervisor is a little bit absent.
And sorry, did you have a partner?
I do, yes.
And how is that overall?
He lives separately from me, and it's really good. He's away for work right now. He works camp work, so that means that he's away for quite a while at a time. This time it'll be like 3 weeks. So we'll see. It's a new company, so it's kind of like a new thing for him as well, and he's got like an injured shoulder. So that's really like an impact for him. And it has like, that's been an impact on our relationship because he had to get surgery for it, and he took like over a year to recover, which means that he wasn't working for most of that year.
That can be really hard.
Yeah, supporting another person that's not your child is very difficult.
How did you work through that? Like, were you able to communicate really well together, or how did that kind of go?
Yeah, I think honestly it just takes a lot of time for someone else to be aware of their own conflicts and like issues and problems. They have like flaws. So I feel like I'm at a place where I'm taking the initiative to learn about how I can better educate myself to deal with my own flaws. And when you're with someone who is looking for the answers to get handed to them, it's like, where are we going? But he's shown like the biggest thing was in, what did we say, March, April, May, 3 months after his injury, we had puppies, and that was kind of like the biggest moment of turmoil in our relationship. After that, it was great, but it was only because I like drew boundaries. I was like, you need to do better. So that's what prompted me to move out on my own, and I've just been focusing on myself a lot more instead of worrying about whatever the hell he's doing and how that's gonna affect me. I'm just like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do regardless of what you're doing. So like, have fun. If you're gonna do something that's completely unexpected and like out of pocket. So, and that's really helped because I think he's like, oh well, and now I have to like do the work for myself instead of expecting someone else to help him with the work or like do the work for him. So he's grown up a lot.
Sounds
So
like
high expectations.
that's good though. It sounds like maybe, you moving out and really setting your boundaries when it came to the puppies kind of gave him like a good wake up call, and it sounds like you guys have a pretty good foundation.
Yeah, the last couple of months have kind of just been like rebuilding like my own schedule, you know? I used to kind of just conform to everybody else's schedule and then like make myself available depending on what their schedule is. But now I'm like, no, I have my own schedule, I have stuff to do, either you work with me on it or nothing happens. So
That's awesome. It sounds like overall you've really kind of come far in your like own independence and by like building your own schedule and having good boundaries with your partner. So what do you think is kind of the main stressor like that you have in your life right now?
If I were to put like a generalization on it, it would definitely be that I just have too much on my plate. I think my brain is, there's too many like completely different things that I need to be like working on, and it's super hard to keep it organized day to day. Between like 3, 4, 5 hours almost a day of reading, 2 weekly assignments, you know, there's readings on top of that, and then there's the things that I need to complete for my practicum, which is turning out to be like way too many things. Designing like summer camps, groups for our center.
You were saying there's just a lot on your plate between designing summer camp groups.
Yes. I am also upgrading at work, so instead of, I don't really know what you would call it, a certificate. More than a certificate.
What are you talking about? Like what are you doing now?
Currently I work in behavioral intervention with kids with autism, and, or, I mean, most of them have autism, but a lot of them just have some kind of developmental or like cognitive learning disability. I mean, it's actually something that's like interesting. I wonder how many kids don't have. Yeah, so I'm doing a course for upgrading from a behavioral interventionist to a registered behavioral technician. I think that's just like the more formal.
Yeah, I think it's a certificate.
Yeah, like it's like the government position for a behavioral interventionist. Like that's like a good start into the world of behavioral therapy, you know? It's like a good step in that way. So yeah, and then they also are requiring us to do a wellness project for our practicum. And I chose to do something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I want to create a comprehensive binder for people that run social groups at my work. Those are like my personal favorite. I love them so much. A lot of people just like the one-on-one sessions, but I like groups because the kids, like, they have an identity on their own outside of the group, but as a group, they have a completely different identity. Like, it's just really cool to see like how the kids get along and they're like how their different personalities vibe with each other, clash with each other, and yeah, so a lot of different things. I mean, I feel like it's all just work related, but at the end of the day, like there's a lot of extra analysis and reflection and work and writing and reading that has to go into like the academic side of things. So it's hard to like keep your brain like on it 24/7. Like you're constantly having to think about school, you're constantly thinking about work. Even when you're like trying to go home and like take a minute to yourself, you're like, oh, I forgot to do this one thing. I feel, and like lately it's just been like building up, like there's always this one thing that I forgot. So
you really light up when you talk about your job. I can tell that you're really passionate and that you care a lot about your work and the kids, and that's wonderful. Do you find that this job is quite fulfilling for you?
Yes, I do. This is actually like my first job in the career field of like human services and care and stuff like that. So I think it's a really unique experience that not a lot of people would put meaning into. But if you understand behavior and you understand like your interest, your passion is to see how people like live and how they learn and helping them in that way, it's really great to see how the therapy actually changes some of the kids' lives. You know, it's fulfilling in the sense like it's really hard work, and most of the time you can't tell that it's paying off until you like recognize they've done one little thing, and then you're like, oh my god, it is helping. So I had one of those moments last week at work, I think. Oh yeah, one of my clients just doesn't like the sound of the toilet flushing, because the sounds, it's a very common trigger for a lot of kids to get dysregulated, and this client, they will not flush the toilet by themselves, and without any kind of prompting or demand put on it by me, the client actually flushed without like independently, so it was quite interesting, especially when there's like a trigger around it. It's not just like I don't want to do that. There's like a very specific like I don't like that noise, you know. My client will cover their ears and stuff, so it was just really interesting to see that they just independently reach to go and do it on their own.
That's awesome.
They also go down the slide all by themselves now. Then before they'd have to like have like someone holding both their hands to go down the small slide at the park close to our place of work. But yeah, so it's always nice when you have things like that like motivate you, but at the same time, now that I've had to do my practicum at my work, I feel like I'm getting less and less of things like that, because I'm doing more and more, what do you call it, like paperwork based stuff, you know, like I'm doing like the more theoretical side of the work, where I'm designing their schedule, what they're gonna do, their daily activities kind of deal, like what targets or goals are we gonna focus on for the day. Like those are really big things, and I feel like to some degree that shouldn't be left up to me, because even like, especially because I'm not even an RVT, I'm still just a BI, and that just, it's interesting how like I feel, it's hard to put it into words. Like our supervisors at work are called BCs, and it like they've got to do a lot of mental work during the day. Like that's their job, and it's really weird to like, it's mind blowing to see how they're not cognizant of how other things will affect the kids. Like if now I'm doing the summer camps, I'll be taking off every other social group that I run at my work, and like I feel like that doesn't help the kids. I feel like that's more detrimental to them than anything, especially because they've never had consistent staff. So I think that's a really, for a lot of them, that's a really triggering change, is new faces that they don't recognize, that they don't know, and it takes a lot to gain their trust, because some of them are like non-trusting, but because some of them like don't have any reasons to trust anyone, you know, so it's like a poorly thought out plan that I have to execute.
That sounds like a lot of responsibility.
It's like when someone tells you like put on a garage sale, but they don't give you anything to sell. The garage sale. terrible analogy, but you know, I don't have the tools, I believe, to efficiently make this group how the supervisor is like playing it out in her head. Like I think that she's got a very defining thought, and I'm not worried that I won't. I don't really know how I would put it. I'm not worried that I won't live up to her expectations. I'm more worried that I won't be able to make it like a fun experience for the kids because it's so poorly thought out. Like it's such a large responsibility to place on a, you know, third year student that's been here for less than a year. So
it sounds like you feel like the kids might be getting forgotten in the planning process for these groups. Do you feel like you take that on personally?
Sometimes. I think definitely in certain cases where I feel like maybe I could have mentioned something that would have helped, or if I had like gone out, or maybe like gone out of my way to get materials or something to make like a more fun experience. Like an example is the Monday group is teenagers, and we have no supplies, we have no materials, we have no like fun games or toys for them. So it's basically just like they come to our social groups not to plan their own social groups, which I feel like is what eventually they make them do. You know, they really rely heavily on the older kids to like make an independent plan, but like I feel like that's our job to make the plan and implement it. They should get say in it, but obviously we shouldn't be relying solely on all of our ideas are up to them and, well, what day do you want to do this kind of deal. Like they barely know. They don't plan for the next day, they don't plan for the next month. They don't know what's going on in a week or two. Some of them remember, most of them don't. So I think it's just difficult when your job is like not doing the one thing they're supposed to be doing. They're not doing their job, essentially. So, and then all the staff is like left wondering what they're supposed to be doing next kind of deal.
Have you shared your thoughts and opinions about how that's going, like with your manager?
I was actually supposed to be having a meeting with her on Monday. Whether or not that actually happens, we'll see, because there was an email that we had received last week about how my supervisor was going to be out of the office for a while. So it's like a fingers crossed kind of deal, you know, to see if she actually comes in or not.
Right. You mentioned earlier that although you might have a lot of stress in like your work and your academic life, you are quite good at compartmentalizing it.
Yeah, for the most part, especially if I'm around people that I don't feel comfortable being completely vulnerable around.
And what about people you do feel vulnerable around?
Yeah, I think for the most part, like I just turn into like a really grumpy person in my personal life because I'm like, I hate everything and I hate everyone. And because I'm so good at hiding it in my professional life, I would definitely say like my partner, he like, I used to get off work before I even started working at my current job. I worked as a receptionist at a tax office, and he would always say that I come home and I'm like a completely different human being because I'm so like grumpy and angry and sarcastic. It just takes so much out of me to fake it. So by the time I go home, I'm like, everybody can just go away.
Right. Do you have anything that you can do when you're at home, or that you do right now to take care of yourself outside of your self-medication?
I spend a lot of time with my dog. I really like, I think it's healing to be alone for some people. Like, everyone has a different story, and, you know, I think it depends on how much it takes out of you to socialize. But personally, like, I think I would rather be alone because it's just so peaceful. You know, don't have to worry about anything but myself. So when I'm at home, it's just like, it's peaceful enough just being at home for me that's like taking care of myself in a sense. Like, I don't force myself to go out and do things that I'm really not feeling up to. Like, I'll cancel plans if I'm not feeling up to it. To me, to other people, well, it doesn't matter to other people, but to me those things are like self-care because I'm prioritizing my own mental health and physical well-being in front of, you know, and while I do like put effort into my friendships and my work relationships and relationships, I definitely do prioritize my own time and well-being over other people's feelings.
Okay. Do you find that having that alone time, I'm assuming you mean like alone time with your dog.
Yeah.
Do you find that helps you rejuvenate your energy back and like you feel well rested kind of going into your next week?
Yeah, I feel like it's easier to not be needed in a sense. Like, my dog needs me, but, you know, like, she'd be fine if I wasn't there for a long time. She only just needs me to feed her and walk her. She's just like minimal maintenance, I guess. I don't look at everything as maintenance, but like, if you were to overgeneralize it, it's maintenance. So I mean, I think things that I like doing things that cost me low cognitive or physical maintenance to keep up.
Okay. I saw in your intake form that you enjoy being outdoors. Do you spend a lot of that time with your dog alone outdoors?
Yes, I do.
East Soup's a gorgeous area.
Yeah, I would say that it's about 50-50 because my dog doesn't generally get along with other dogs. So it's very restricted on where I can take her because she is very animal aggressive. However, I don't like it doesn't bug me. I take her on trails alone, or I'll take her up a road or something like that, and I'll get her out for a good walk, and then if I want to do something, I just go do it on my own. I'll go to the beach or something by myself and just hang out.
Nice. Is there anything that you want to work towards in terms of like dealing with your stress? Like, are you interested in meditation, journaling, mindfulness activities, anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely feel like it would be a benefit to do something like that. I just don't know where I would find the time.
And do you feel like there's anything in your schedule right now that you could potentially look at spending less time on, or like, I know that practicum doesn't go, it's not a full year, so it is just a semester. Are you just gonna kind of buckle down and get through it and
Yeah, I mean, for right now, there's not a whole lot that I can do to reduce my hours, just because, again, we're unemployed right now. We're losing a staff. I'm pretty sure we're losing 2 staff members. One I know for sure. And so as a full-time, they were a full-time employee. Now those shifts have to go somewhere, and we're already so understaffed that, like, I mean, right now I do need the money, so I did take quite a few of those shifts, but I will be adding more hours because these summer camps run Monday to Friday, 9 to 4:30, and so it's only like 4, 5, 6 and a half. Oh. 7 hours, 3.5. They're 3.5 hours a session, so we're working 7 hours a day, and like I don't normally work that much. I work a lot less than that. So even though, like, I feel like it's just gonna take up more time, because once July comes, then I'm gonna have to start working on the August schedule, and so like it's almost like it never ends for the summer.
Right.
Once I finish something, I'm gonna have to start something else. And then I just, like, mostly when I get home lately, I've just honestly been sitting there, because I run groups, they run till 5:30, and so I'm home at like 6:30, which means that I walk my dog, and then I'm making my dinner at 7, and then I'm getting, to finish it around 7:30, 8 o'clock, depending on how long it takes to cook. And by then, I just have no motivation to do anything, that I will just go right to bed. And this is my biggest problem. It's like I can't keep doing that, because it's impeding a lot of my, like, academic work, which is also unfortunately all online for this semester, which I'm not used to either. So it's very easy to just, like, not go on my computer.
That sounds like a lot. I think anyone in your position would be probably feeling very overwhelmed right now. I think the pressure that they put on students nowadays, especially in this economy, to do practicums and unpaid things, it's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I feel like the hours are a little bit asking too much of students. I think that there shouldn't be like a non-flexible baseline. I feel like there should be like almost like a grace period. Like, these are the hours we want you to get, but if you get 10 less or 10 more, we won't be mad about it, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And however, like, that's just not how university is. They want you to have these hours or more. And you don't get anything for having more hours. They're just like, good job, good for you, kind of deal. So, you know what I mean, a pat on the back. So it's like, there's no point in going above and beyond for anything.
Right. Now, I know a lot of what you're struggling with is, like, finding time. Have you been able to find anything like meal prepping, or finding maybe parts in your day, like if you have a client that doesn't show, where you can do some prep to save yourself time in the future? Is there anything like that you've tried, or maybe we could look at?
Yeah, definitely. Like, if I have a break between my sessions, I'll be doing work. But yeah, it's just a lot to keep up with at the moment.
And it can be kind of hard, because like, I know thinking about something like meal prepping might feel like adding another thing, but maybe if we can find a way to do it that it really does save you time in the future, you'll find the benefit that way long term. on today that you want to talk about? We've got about 5 minutes left in our session. I don't want to cut you off. We do have a little bit more time if we need it, but just to kind of give you a little bit of a heads up that where we are at with time.
Yeah. No, I don't really have anything more that I feel like I need to say. It's kind of just a very general sense of feeling disorganized and, because of that, a lack of motivation to kind of get on it kind of deal. So, yeah. When you get so overwhelmed to a point, I feel like it's hard to figure out where to go next.
Yeah, I mean, it does, it's very obvious you've got a lot on your plate right now. It seems nice that you do have a good foundation with your partner, although he has just left, so that might be something that you will learn to kind of navigate right now. But it also seems like you enjoy your alone time, so it might be kind of nice. In terms of work and practicum, I think we could look at look at reaching out for a little bit more support at work and seeing what your manager might say about getting a little more in from like the behavioral consultants. Also, I think making a list or having a small list on hand, whether it's just in your phone for when you do have client cancellations, you can have like a small list of things that you can work on immediately without trying to think, because that can take up a lot of brain space of like what you might need to do. But I think overall you have a lot on your plate. I think you're handling it with a grace, and I think the fact that you are seeking out counseling just to kind of give yourself that extra support is a really good sign. I think you're really looking at taking care of yourself during this part of your life. And do you know how often you would like to do some sessions?
I was thinking that I would go once a week for now.
Okay. And would you like to book them in office or online?
If I could just go and book my next one at the front on my way out, I will do that.
Excellent. Cassie will be happy to do that for you. And yeah, do you have any other questions before we wrap up today?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome. Well, it was excellent meeting you. I'd love to shake your hand if you're...
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. It was a really great session.
Yes. Thank you.
What's the time at?
44.
That's pretty good. I think that's good enough.
Yeah, there's like some of just like the beginning.
That's literally gonna be